Good evening and welcome to Talking Points on Paxton Road TV, our brand new show, or brand new channel, should I say, dedicated all things Spurs. And we are joined today by, as usual, residents in the house. We have Mike Hotspur Hustler, Darius 3K, Deji Spurs, and a special guest today, Bob Spur TV. Welcome all, gentlemen. How are we all doing?
Feeling fresh on this new channel. This new channel
Is that how we
feeling's
do it?
nice, isn't it?
New channel.
This new channel feeling's nice. I like it. I'm enjoying it.
I am delighted.
New channel.
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
Feeling
fresh.
First time caller, please be gentle.
It's all fun. So welcome anyway, gentlemen. As we have a new guest on the show, Bob Spur, do you want to tell people who you are, where they can find you, socials and all the rest of it before we get into talking points in general?
Yeah, Bob Spur. Bob, obviously from Bob Spur TV. Started up a new channel a few weeks ago. It's going, touch wood, going great. Looking at the lighter things in life concerning Spurs. And yeah, I've got a co-host, my 6-year-old son, Bob Spur Jr., who seems to be taking all the limelight. He's better looking than me, so it's allowed. He is my favourite as well out of the 4 kids. So it's going great. Passionate Spurs man, been supporting him for 30 plus years, and yeah, just like I say, just engrossed with all things Spurs. Unfortunately, family are suffering as well because of that. Yeah. They understand now. They understand.
Darius knows about that stuff. And he was probably forced to support Spurs as well, and you know what I mean. Well, that's what happens. That's what happens in life. You know, you've got to do these things. You've got to do these things. Anyway,
you have to.
Gentlemen, what we're here for, talking points. Talking points. We have 3 talking points for tonight, so why waste any time? Let's get into this. The first talking point, Cryptic Kane. Will he stay or will he go? Before I come to anybody, firstly, let me just go to what was causing maybe a little bit of anguish between, well, not so much anguish, but certainly talking points in terms of why, you know, everybody's getting a little bit twitchy about Kane. So what Kane said when it was asked about, you know, was in danger of any distraction, whether or not mean to quit Spurs to compete for biggest trophies, what Kane said. I think that's a hard question to answer right now. It's important that all my focus is in the 2 England games coming up now and the rest of the season with Spurs and then the Euros. To be thinking about speculation or rumours would be damaging in terms of my own performance. I always like to be focused on one goal and one job, and that's to finish strong with Spurs. With these qualifiers of England, hopefully to go on and have a great Euros. Look, I try to stay out stay out the speculation as much as possible. I'm fully focused on doing a job on the pitch from now until the end of the summer, and then we'll see where we go from there. Gentlemen, who wants to take away and go first with regards to whether Kane was actually saying something cryptically within those comments, or is it just a standard press answer that you would expect from the Tottenham player? England captain, should I say. Who wants to go on that one? I'll let anybody. Go on then. I've got Deji might have to fight. Yeah,
you know me, innit? You know, I'm going to probably slightly derail it slightly, but yeah, should Kane stay? Should he go? What did he mean in that message? I think he's been loyal to us, and I read a comment by Jermaine Defoe on the weekend, and he was talking about the fact that he's managed to win a trophy at Rangers at a big club, you know, whatever. But he was talking about how that feeling of winning trophies is something that he regrets not kind of winning a trophy a lot sooner. And I do feel like with Kane, he does want to win a trophy. And so I'm going to flip the question slightly and answer it. If we don't finish in the top 4 and win the Carabao Cup, then I will open the door and let him out. Not because I want Kane to leave, but because he is a world-class striker. And I think we should just take solace that we developed one of the best strikers in the world football. And he deserves to play at the highest level and have a few trophies in his living room so he has a story to tell to his grandkids. So I wouldn't want to see Kane leave, but with Mourinho in charge, with us potentially not getting the Champions League spot, with us not winning a trophy this season, is it fair for him to stay and do another season? Personally, no. He's in the prime of his career. Let him go off for a couple of years. He's a legend. He's done his job for us. He's a ledge. And I would say, you know what? Well done, Kane. We love you. You're in the lights. You're forever a legend at Spurs. Go and get the 1 or 2 trophies you're going to get now until the end of the season and call it a day. But however, if we do win the Carabao Cup and we get 4th, then I think he should stay, because actually maybe Jose turns it around. You know my views on that anyway. If you've seen previous podcasts, that
yes, we do, Deji. We do.
But just in case, you know, maybe he can win us the Champions League. But I'm not going to hold my breath on that, and that's my view.
Okay, Bobsper, do you think it is dependent on where we finish in the league and the Carabao Cup? If we win it, will he stay? If we don't win it, does he go? Or is it more a case of seeing the progression? If we get 4th, top 4, what's your thoughts on that?
I think there's only one person who can decide if Kane stays or goes, and that's Harry Kane himself. I think he's earned the right to decide that. And, you know, there's a lot of talk about how Jose is going to be backed in the summer. I think Harry Kane's got enough credit in the bag to actually go up to Levy and say, right, what's the plans for the summer? He himself, I believe, should and could go up to Levy and say, right, where are we going this summer? I'm going to be 28. I'm coming into my prime. You know, I've only got 2 or 3 years, like has been said, I've only got 2 or 3 years, 4 years potentially, with the way he plays, if not more, to win titles. You know, and he is getting closer to the elite level, although I believe he's already there. Finishing 4th and winning the Carabao Cup is great, of course, but again, that might paper over so many cracks. You know, the inconsistencies of the teams in the Premier League this season. I don't think finishing 4th is that much of an achievement this season. Purely and simply, I'm not confident we could finish 4th because of Spurs. I'm confident we might finish 4th because of the teams above us. So, like I say, the only person who's going to decide if Kane stays or goes is Kane himself, and possibly what Levy's got planned and Enoch got planned for the summer. And if he goes, like has been said, you know, he'll go with our full blessings. I don't want to see him in the Premier League, though. Unfortunately, I can't bear watching Match of the Day every week and him scoring a hat trick.
That's the danger. Yeah. If he was to go, there's not a lot of clubs that could afford, or certainly not what Daniel Levy's going to want for him. Everybody's talking upwards of 100 million. Yeah. There's talk about 120 million in this COVID environment. I don't see many teams in the world really wanting to pay that sort of money, but there are teams that will. You know, you've got the likes of their money men at City. You've got the likes of PSG. I don't want to see him in the Premier League. If he was to go, I don't want to see him anywhere close to City, United, Chelsea, any of them teams, because that would be a major problem. I think he would excel at all of those clubs. I really do. If he was at City, you can imagine what chances you'd be getting week in, week out. And he's a proven goal scorer. He is a proven goal scorer. And this talk about some people are discussing whether Harry Kane's not world class, that is completely ridiculous. The guy has proved it over the 6 seasons, 20-odd plus goals every single season. He is world class. And he will break all records if he stays at Spurs. He'll break that Jimmy Goog's record.
100%.
And I've had this discussion with Darius as well. If he was to stay in the Premiership, or Premier League, should I say, I believe he could get very close to that Alan Shearer record, which is a real tough record to beat.
He'll beat it. Yeah.
Mike, what's your thoughts on that?
Will he stay or will he go? I am thinking, well, this is how I'm thinking it from a financial perspective. Who's going to be able to afford him in this current sort of climate that we see ourselves in? I mean, Levy's not going to let him go for anything less than what I'm assuming probably between 100, 150 sort of minimum. He's not going to let Kane go to another Premier League rival. And why would he? It's almost suicide for us to send him to another rival like Man City or Man United. So I can't see Kane going to either of those sort of clubs. I mean, again, the only sort of destination or possible destination would be PSG, which, again, French football, I can't see Kane going. That's a backward step to me. Even if it is for PSG, it's a backward step in the French league. And would he go to Spain? Barcelona can't afford him because they're in financial difficulties themselves, and with Real Madrid, they're going for a difficult phase themselves. Zidane might not even be there next season, so I think we've got Kane for another season. Purely on the basis of I just don't see who could step in and afford the sort of asking price that Levy's going to want, and he's not going to. Why would he let his best asset go for anything less than what he's sort of deemed to be valued at? So, me personally, I think he'll stay for another season. He's not far off from the Jimmy Greaves record. If he's gonna stay, he might as well try and beat that. Again, that's another tough record for any striker at Tottenham to try and beat. I mean, I know loyalty is questionable nowadays, but yeah, I think it is cryptic from Kane. I think it's a typical. When you look at Bale's interview that he gave, that's the sort of response he should have given. Because he's not giving anything away. He's just said, "Look, I'm focused at Tottenham." And that's as far as it will go, and that's what Bale should have done. But 100%. I'm going with Kane staying for another season. Just as I say, on the basis of I just can't see anyone affording to buy him that we would want to sell to.
Darius, I think Kane's contracted to us until 2024, I do believe. There are negotiations underway currently for him to sign a new contract. I'm not sure what the figures are, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be upwards of 200 grand per week. And I believe it may be another additional 3 years on top, which would take him to around about 2027, which would be all his prime years, as far as I'm aware. That might change. Do you think we're in any danger of losing Harry Kane at the end of this season?
No, honestly, I think if Kane goes, he goes this season. If he doesn't go and he does sign a contract, he's here for the rest of his career, solely because I genuinely don't think any other club can afford to pay for him. And I don't think any other club will pay for him, solely because he's 28 years old in the summer. He's renowned for injuries. He's literally known as weak ankles Harry Kane. So if you're going to go and buy a player in his prime for £100 million, I don't think you're going to go and want to buy an injury-prone prime player, if that makes any sense, even if it is Harry Kane and he's the best striker in the world. If you've got a guaranteed injury in Harry Kane every year and you're going to go and drop £120 million, I just go and look at Eden Hazard and think Real Madrid aren't going to take that risk again. They dropped £100 million, going up to £150 million on Eden Hazard. He had 16 goals, 15 assists in his last season in the Premier League. He went at 28 years old, and now look at him. He can barely get a game time. So for me, I just think I compare Harry Kane's situation to kind of like a music contract, where like Harry Kane's stuck to his label and he kind of he can't get out of it. He just has to release his albums. He has to just do his thing because he can't get out of a contract that he's signed to. And I genuinely believe that Daniel Levy is smart in what he did. He always adds on like 2-year extensions, 1-year extensions to these big players so that they're never going to go to that 2-year point. And I think Harry Kane's now realized he's in a situation where 2024, his contract ends. He will be 31, I think 32. He's not going to be in his prime when he leaves. If he's going to leave now and go and get all these trophies and leave a legacy, like he said, he's going to have to leave now. And it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. People aren't going to spend £120 million on Harry Kane, knowing that he's got injuries, knowing that you've got people like Haaland and Mbappe who you could probably spend that money on and be guaranteed 5, 6, 7 years. And then also a sell-on value after that. So Harry Kane...
Don't you think that players are their longevity is increasing? You have to look at players like Zlatan, you look at Lewandowski, players in their 30s and banging them in, particularly Lewandowski at Bayern.
These are also Messi, players Ronaldo, who are like machines, aren't they? These players never get injured. These are players who are physically conditioned at their peak. And I'm not saying Harry Kane isn't physically conditioned at his peak, but he has a history of injuries, reoccurring injuries. And that's the main thing. They're reoccurring. They're not spontaneous injuries. He's not like Van Dijk where he had a freak injury on his knee. It's reoccurring ankle injuries, reoccurring injuries that Harry Kane has sustained. So for me, it's one of those things where, like I said, again, he's trapped. And the only way, in my opinion, Harry Kane can have a legacy that's worth looking back at and thinking, yeah, it was worth it, is if he breaks the Premier League record, if he breaks the England record, and he breaks the Tottenham record. I think he has to do all three for him to be like, yeah, it was worth staying at Spurs. Because I'm going to be realistic. I don't think we're going to win a Premier League or a Champions League in the next 4 years. So he's got to try and look at it and think, if I'm going to stay at Tottenham, what am I going to do to be able to solidify my legacy? Because at the end of the day, he's an individual football player. He's got to think about his own legacy as well. So for me, like we said, I'm open if he leaves. I'm not going to stop him from leaving. He deserves to leave. He deserves to do his thing. But I think he's trapped.
Mike, I think I can see you wanting to come in there. Come on, Mike.
No, I was just going to say about Kane and being injury prone. Is he actually injury prone, or has he been unfortunate with people that have gone in on him, and he's just sort of the challenge that have gone in against him have given him the injuries that he's suffered with? Because I don't think he's sort of suffered injuries through his own doing. I think it's from defenders and opposition that have gone in on him, and they've just sort of tackled him, and he's landed or gone in awkwardly on the off back of the challenges. So I don't know if he's injury prone, but
I think with Harry Kane, to me, I'm just going to let, before you come in, Dej, I'm just going to say, this is always players. It's usually player power that determines whether they leave or not. Now, when we had the biggest thing in terms of a comparison of a major player leaving us or wanting to leave us was the Gareth Bale, and that was obviously 7-8 years ago now. And Gareth Bale pretty much decided that he was going to go to Real Madrid, and he kept quiet, but there was all the background rumours saying that he wasn't going to play for Spurs again. I don't see Harry Kane wanting to spoil his legacy at Spurs. He's been brought up through the academy. He's been there for years and years and years. Regardless of whether or not we win trophies and Harry Kane is going to be moving on, I think he wants to be known as that player that did everything he could at Spurs. And for him to then go around and start saying, you know what, I'm going to be off, I'm not going to play, I don't want to do this, I don't want to pull the shirt on, I don't think he's that sort of player. And because
he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that.
So because of that, I can see it's going to be a decision that he'll have a conversation potentially with the manager, potentially with Daniel Levy, to say, look, this is the criteria. We need to do this as a club. We need to be achieving this. I think if we can see progression, I think if we can see, players coming in that's going to assist with this development of where we are at the present time, I think Harry Kane will want to stay. I know he said that he wants to win trophies and all the rest of that stuff, but there's only a certain amount of teams that are going to be able to do that.
And everyone says that, don't they? I want to win trophies. Exactly. It's why you play football, isn't it? Why you play professional football? You want to win trophies. You want to win everything that there is to win. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
So do you think that? Sorry to interrupt you, Mike. But do you think that Harry Kane will then look at his career, if he was to finish his career at Tottenham, potentially break that record, the Jimmy Greaves record, and break maybe the Premier League record as well? Do you think he'll look back at his career if he doesn't win a major title and think, the loyalty of the fans is worth not potentially winning anything for his entire career? Because it's crazy to think a world-class player like Harry Kane isn't going to win anything. Like, I don't know how he feels. I don't know. I feel like that, to me as a player, if I was a player and I couldn't show unless I had the records and the accolades, I don't know. I don't know how I would feel about just having the loyalty as that thing to go off.
Yeah, Darius, I think you're spot on, and that's what I read from Jermaine Defoe in his article on the weekend. He was saying, look, literally, if he could go back in time, if he had the opportunity to go to a big club, he would. And look, I can see Kane doing a Steven Gerrard, do you know what I mean, and staying at Spurs. The difference being Steven Gerrard picked up the Champions League.
Big one, big ears, isn't it? That's what I mean.
But, big ears.
I guess for me as a Spurs fan, Bob was alluded to it as well. He's done so much for us that I want to give my blessing. I want him to win something for him, for himself.
So do I.
I think he's done enough for us. He's been over 20 goals a season. Look at the goals he scored. We won North London derbies. We've been in the top 4 Champions League final. Kane has done a lot. And in regards to kind of being injury prone, if you watch how Kane is playing nowadays, he's managing his body a lot better now. Do you know what I mean? I agree. He's back quite quickly. He's become smarter. He's dropping deep now, which is now adding to the longevity. And that's what the greats do, isn't it? They know their body and then they modify their game accordingly. And I see that with Kane. So
the only thing with Harry Kane and that is that I think Harry Kane's the type of player that wants to play every minute of every game to his detriment. So unless somebody is going to manage him in that sense, he's going to want to play. And that fatigue factor, that overplaying is where the injuries come. So again, as you get into your latter stage of your career, I don't even think he's in latter stages yet. He's definitely at his peak. And I still think he's got at least 4 or 5 great years ahead of him if he can manage the way he's playing now. but it's going to need to be managed. They are going to need to think, Harry, and this is a prime example. When we played in the game against Zagreb and all that, he shouldn't be playing in them games. He shouldn't be playing. He shouldn't be playing, but he did.
Yeah, and you got to remember, when he is fit, it's very rarely he misses any game anyway, be it through the choice of manager or his own desire not to miss any games. If he is out injured, but he's still, regardless of how many, even in a season where he missed nearly half the season, he still finished like 4th or 5th top scorer in the league. You know, so like I say, when he is fit, he very rarely misses any minutes, never mind games. So, and he is guaranteed. You sign Harry Kane, you're guaranteeing 20+ goals. Standard. Guaranteed. You're guaranteed. And with regards to, sorry, going back a bit more, with regards to the clubs out there not having any money. For me, the way I look at it, and I could be totally wrong, is football's not got anywhere. For us, for example, us not having money, I think we've got a stadium that's going to bring in billions. It's going to bring in millions, billions. We've got Lady Gaga concerts that are coming in. NFL's there.
I can't wait.
If we do whatever, whatever money we're going to spend, we're going to recoup, be it in a year or 2 years. So the money that's going out, you'd like to think Levy as a business mind, never mind, not a football mind, but as Levy and Enoch as a football business people, they'll know the money that they're spending is going to come in. And I'd say the same for Man City and say for PSG. If Kane does go somewhere, I think he'll need to go somewhere where he's guaranteed trophies. He's not going to go Chelsea or Man United because they're in transition. He might as well stay at Spurs. But
which is why I think PSG might be an opportunity.
That's
PSG
it.
might be the right one, but I never know.
And
Sorry, Bob.
And if he stays, it's right. If he stays in the UK, the only place he'll go is Man City.
100%. I just wanted to say on that as well. Aguero is officially leaving this summer. By the way, he's officially leaving this summer. So.
But City, Levi's he's never going to sell. He's never going to sell Kane to City, especially when you've got Mbappe or Haaland, who are younger, and
100%. I agree with that.
Probably more achievable to buy than Kane is.
I think City are all geared up for Haaland, and that's another topic. Gents, we've spent a good time on this one. This could have been the only talking point we've done today. So I'm going to do a little bit different with the next one. We're going to have a bit more of an open discussion on this one. So this is the summer sale. Who goes from the squad? Now, I'm going to have my little bit of a say. I'm not going to really do much. This is just a picture of some of the players that are currently knocking about this place. And you can see some players on there.
Oh my gosh. I think you could take out one image. You could probably take out one image.
I just got a load of images today. I thought, I'm just going to plaster them all up. And I'm looking and seeing Dyer. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go through a few lists here. It's going to all come to mind. Dyer can go. He can do one for me. Sissoko, you know my thoughts on Sissoko. He can do one. Winks, see you later. I'll get you the cab. I'll pay your fare as well. You can go and do one. I'm a little bit torn between Aurier because I think
he's gone, mate. Go. Get rid. If you leave your players in the trenches at half time against Liverpool, I'm sorry. I don't care what your reason is. You're gone. You don't leave your boys in the trench at all.
It's true.
Go.
He's not having it.
I noticed that Justin Timberlake's not on there. Is that?
We might need him for the shows, Des, when the stadium opens up again. So I think we need to keep him for that one.
The amount of deadwood we have in this squad at the moment, bonfire night. We don't need to go out and buy no more wood. We just put it from the first one. There you go. Put a lighter in there. Like I said. Sorry.
But the problem with that is we can't get rid of. There's 10 players that I think we can probably all reel off that we'd all agree with that has to go. However, 10 players in one transfer window is just not realistic. So if you had to choose a realistic, I reckon 5. 4.
Let's say 5. I'd even go as far as saying 5 players could potentially go because we've got players who are going to be coming back off loan as well. So I think we could probably lose 5 players. Go on then, somebody go on real some 5 because I've got easy 5, no problem.
Just thinking of mine right now. You think Lamella?
For me, it's a personal opinion. I'm not waiting every 4 or 5 years for a Rabona to come through and look at that. So he needs to move on. It's all very well taking on 15 players from the opposition, then passing it back. I can't remember a single game-changing goal, a game-changing assist, a game-changing performance He runs around. Roy Keane famously said it, didn't he? He's great at running around after a ball. Excuse me, my dog does that. I wouldn't put him in my team. So now Lamela for me, it's a personal thing maybe, and I'm probably the only one in the chat who's saying that. But for Lamela, for me, fortunately he's had a bit of a renaissance in performances. For me, that's great because it will just mean we'll probably get another 2-3 mil for him.
What about Lloris? What about the keeper?
Yeah, I think we need to change. Yeah.
The only thing is with Lloris, I would want a keeper in before he goes, as opposed to him going. You can't. There's no Gazaniga, and you can't be left with Joe Hart. So Lloris is the captain. So I would rather keep Lloris and obviously properly go out, because a goalkeeper is one of those things where you have to kind of go out and scout and choose the right goalkeeper, because if you're going to go and select your next goalkeeper, you either go and buy one temporarily or you go and buy one for the next 5-10 years. So I'd rather keep Lloris and then get the right goalkeeper in, as opposed to ship him out and then we're panicking and then we buy someone like, I don't know, flipping Aaron Ramsdale from Sheffield United. So
hell no.
It's one of those. It's one of those.
I'm not having no player named after a fish and chip shop. No.
It's Winks. So it's a midfield. Midfield needs an overhaul again, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
I say we got, Mike, I know you said we shouldn't, it's not realistic to do 10, and I agree. But we do need a major overhaul because these guys are so dead. I agree with you, Bob. Lamela was supposed to be our replacement for Gareth Bale. And I remember when he was at Roma, he was running down that
next Messi
side, and I was excited thinking we've got the replacement to Gareth Bale. And he's turned out to be anything but. You know what I mean? So look, let's get rid, because what we do have is we have a starting 11 that we can manage while we're bedding in other players.
And Dej, I was just going to ask you that question. And my thing is with that, and the fact that we've got such a strong 11 is kind of what scares me a bit, is because you're going to have to go into this market now and you're going to have to say to these players that you're bringing in, are you going to be a starter? Are you good enough to be a starter? Or is it, what pitch are you going to give to these players to kind of say, like, we've got a really strong 11. We're going to have to take that Man City approach and say, like, you're all going to have to contribute to the squad. Because if I was a player looking at that team and thinking, wow, Ndombele, Højbjerg, and then potentially, I don't know, Lascelles, so it's going to be like, I want my starting place. That's my thing. That's the only thing with it. Yeah, true.
Any top club, isn't it? I mean, if you go to Man City, you're not going to be going in there thinking, right, I'm definitely 100% starting week in, week out. I think same with like if you go to Barcelona or Juventus or whoever it might be.
And that should be the mentality for a club like us.
It's now a squad game, isn't it? Like you've got to have a strong squad, not a strong 11, because you've seen it. If you get injuries, you've got to rely on those backup players to come in and do that job. So
see, for me, the problem is not just about the players that need to go. It's who's going to take them. We've got a list of 10, but who's going to... But we've been trying to get rid of Danny Rose for, 18 months now? Yeah. No one's taking him.
Because Levy wants every little penny, though, don't he? Like, sometimes he doesn't want to make it...
You can't even give Danny Rose away at the moment. You know what I mean? He had a chance to go to Newcastle. There was other teams that was in... They didn't really want to take that risk on him. Do you know what I'm saying? Players like Eric Dyer, I don't know... There's probably somebody out there that will take him, but for me...
for Dyer, Sporting Lisbon.
He could go. But then I look at things, and this is a bit controversial. As you know, I'm not the biggest fan of number 6, Davinson Sanchez. He's performed better recently, but again, I'm not going to start going, he's great. But is he a squad player? Would he be somebody that you could keep in the squad? I don't think we can rely on him as a centre-back that's going to be the leader at the back. However, what I've seen from him in recent weeks is if he's got somebody alongside him that can keep him under the control, stop pressing the X and Y button together on him and keep him just doing the things that he does well, I think he could be a good squad player. But I don't think he could be that leader that we need at the back. No. That's what we're crying out for at centre-back.
Yeah, he's never going to be a leader. But Sanchez, I don't think Sanchez is he's not. I wouldn't put him in the top 5 of players that we need to get rid of just to get fresh blood in. Like Sissoko, Winks, I would say they're in our top 5 to get rid of. Dyer, I'd put him in that list. Dele Alli, again, I'd put him in the list. He's not going to play for us. Get rid of him. Get what we can and reinvest it.
Let me give you another name then. What about Lucas Moura? He's coming up. I think he's going to be 29 soon, if not already. He's been here a few years. He's probably had his best 3 months in a Spurs shirt in the last few well, up from what I've seen. But he's been another player that you kind of under Poch. The only highlight really for me was obviously his hat-trick against Ajax. And then the man didn't play in the final. So he must have been absolutely shot to pieces for the rest of that. So he's done well to kind of come back from that. But again, are we saying that he's great now because he's had 3 or 4 good games? Are we then going to go into next season thinking, oh, we've got this Lucas Moura, and then he does what Lucas Moura does? Again, I think
he's a good squad player. Good.
Yeah, I think the best has come out of him because he's played in that number 10 position. You know, he's always had that dribble on him, but he's never ever had a cross on him. His crossing distribution has been absolutely rubbish right from day one.
True.
Now, the reason why it's better for that number 10 is he can dribble 3 or 4 players, but what he's got the quality players, i.e. Sonny and Kane, within his vicinity. So he can do a simple pass, whereas before when he was beating 15, 20 players down the wing, the end product was nowhere to be seen. Whereas now, at least he's in the middle when he's got the quality players around him. Now, with regards to the normal strong starting 11, in my eyes, apart from Lloris, Højbjerg, Sonny and Kane, they're the only 4 really who've played consistently in our team. The other ones have been shifted around, be it fullbacks, be it central defenders. So I think only them 4 you can really say, although the other guys are in our strong 11. But if you want to sell it to someone, you say, look, apart from these 4 who are a must in the starting 11, there has been rotation throughout the squad throughout the season. So apart from them 4, I don't think.
And our issue hasn't been attacking, has it? Our issue is defensive. If Mourinho could sort out that back line or that defensive, the defensive part of the squad, then I think we potentially could have had a different season this year. But and if we get rid of Mourinho, it's only down to the next manager to come in and do the same. They're just going to be like, well, I've got to sort out this back line, haven't I? So
true. Is there anybody else on that list?
It's a very good call having. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Go on.
No, I'm just saying it's a good call having Lloris, Son, Højbjerg, and Kane to build a squad maybe from. That's probably the best 4 you could probably build your squad. Yeah. Literally 4 different positions all going up at the pitch. I think those 4 probably have to stay. That's why I'm saying Lloris probably has to stay. And then you kind of, like you said, Bob, I think now I'm thinking, because I'm thinking, when I was thinking about it, I was like, yeah, we have got a strong 11. But now you've mentioned it, it's like those 4 really are the only players that have solidified their place. So for me, it is kind of like, and I would keep Reguilon because I think Reguilon is amazing. I absolutely love Reguilon, and obviously Ndombele as well. So for me, apart from all those positions, it's open market for me for the 11. Now you say it's open market.
So who has to go? Who would you say if they weren't gone in the summer? Would you say, damn, no? Because I see someone, and I'm going to say it. I see Sissoko as being that player. I don't want to see him. The reason I'm saying that, it's not because he doesn't come on and do a job, but he doesn't do a job that well.
No,
he doesn't do anything.
He doesn't do a job when he goes on.
He don't do nothing on the wing. He don't do nothing in terms of midfield. He's not a number 10. He don't shoot well. He can't pass. He can't really tackle. He commits fouls. I'm scratching my head there thinking to myself, what does this guy offer?
He's Ndombele's best friend. He's Ndombele's best friend. That's all he is. That's all the reason he's here is because Ndombele would have left if Sissoko went, and Aurier was on the verge of going. If those 2 weren't here, Ndombele wouldn't be at Tottenham. So I think they've kept him to kind of keep Ndombele happy until Ndombele, you know what I mean, feels his way in the team.
Sissoko offers his name. You know, when you need 11, then Sissoko is quite happy to put his name there. Like you rightly said, the only thing I want to see Sissoko doing, if he does stay at Spurs, is he should be coaching. He should coach the under 18s.
No, he should translate English lessons. That's what he should be doing.
Build up stamina.
I don't want that guy coaching anybody in our squad.
Problem is,
what is he going to coach him? What's he going to coach him?
English lessons. He should be. He's good at English. He's good at English.
No.
The problem is with him is he's got so much influence in that squad.
Exactly. He's got a lot of influence, and that's.
So, but then Mike, you say that, and then I have to go back to what you're saying. You think we have to act like a big club. I don't care if you've got that influence in the squad. You're not good enough. Get out. Like, I understand. I agree with you when you say that.
And that's why I'd get rid of him, because he doesn't bring anything to the team.
100%.
He's not a top. He's not a top. I wouldn't say he's top half in the Premier League. I don't think he'd get into any of the teams in the top half. I
don't even think he would get into West Brom, honestly.
Even
the Norwich midfield, even the Brentford midfield. Like you would. I'm not trying to take. I'm personally not trying to take the piss here. I'm trying to be honest and look at the situation we've got. And the thing is with these players is, what I think of is this: if you get rid of Sissoko, then I'm not going to use Sissoko as an example. Let me use a better example. So Lucas Moura in the 10. If you get rid of Lamela, and then because obviously Lucas Moura is a starter now, we can all admit that for the past few months he's been a starter. If you get rid of Lamela, then Lucas Moura takes Lamela's place as that impact sub, and then you get somebody else in, i.e. Lo Celso or somebody else in the summer to take that starting role that Lucas Moura is currently occupying. So that's the reason why I think we should be getting rid of players, because Lucas Moura is a good squad player. He's not a starting 11 player. He's not starting 11 quality, in my opinion, for Spurs.
I don't think Spurs will get rid of those two players, because I don't think Levy or Mourinho see them two as a problem. I think if we're going to get rid of an attacker, it'll be Dele Alli, just because again him, Dyer, Sissoko, Winks, they're the 4 problem players. Get rid.
That's probably the 4 for me.
What worries me about Ali is his declining valuation. I mean, he's probably half the valuation from the summer, I reckon.
Probably less, mate. Probably less.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, from 10-15 million off his value since the summer, where we had a chance to get. And if he goes if we don't sell him in the summer,
you'll just run his contract down, won't he?
Well, there's this comment here.
It'll be the same price we got him for.
Yeah, true. Premier Hotspur TV says, apart from 5 or 6 players, the rest are bang average. If you're honest to yourself, guys, and some are untouchable as well. I can't disagree with that. I think there are bang average players in there, and I think there's some below bang average players in our squad as well. I'm not sure about untouchable, because every player, if it's time to be shifted on, it's a case of who's going to take him. That's my biggest thing, because as I said, going back to the Danny Rose thing, it's not happened. If you keep too many of these players or you can't get rid of them, they are going to be in and around that dressing room. You can't put 10 players into the under 23s. You can't do that. That's not.
What about doing an Arsenal and you know what Arsenal did in the January? They literally paid the players to get out the club. They paid Socrates to leave. They paid Mustafi to leave. What about that approach?
Doing that?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think the situation is that bad where we're gonna? Because that's when the situation is bad. That's when you know that dressing room is gone. When you're having to literally pay players to leave your club. I don't think it's that bad. Which makes me think. I can't. Again, you're right in what you're saying. I can't see Lamela or Lucas Moura even close.
Not this window. Not this.
Be the bad eggs, won't it? I think he's trying to weed out the bad eggs as opposed to the bad players or ability-wise, which may be why Winks gets one more year if he wants to stay, because he'll probably choose to leave. It's probably down to him. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it'll be.
Let's pray that Valencia come in with an offer that just be like, yeah, it's too good to turn down, and someone drives into the airport and just says, yeah. Thanks.
But I don't imagine Winks is a bad egg. That's what I mean. I imagine Aurier, like you said, is a bad egg. This is probably why he wants to get rid of him probably first, because he doesn't want that attitude in the dressing room.
Premier Hotspur TV he didn't say untouchable, it's uncoachable. That's my reading. That's my my dyslexia coming into play there. It's uncoachable. But again, there's a lot of players. Well, not a lot of players. There's 1 or 2 players I don't think are coachable. As I said, Sanchez comes to mind, Sissoko comes to mind, but again, that's just my personal opinion. Gentlemen, I think we have to go on to this last point, because we could do this one for a long while. But this last point, and again, we'll have an open discussion about it. Who cares about Carabao? Now, Desi Spurs is on record. I remember him pointing at the screen.
The Carabao, is it?
Telling it's not even Carabao, it's the McDonald's Cup. And we are on record as saying the McDonald's Cup, if we win it, is it success for Spurs? Now, my thoughts are it's a trophy that will give us the ability to say we can win. The fact that we're playing Manchester City in the final, if we were to beat them, hold on, lads, hold on. I know you're all doing the laughter thing.
That's classed as Champions League IMO.
Hold on. If we were to beat Man City in that final, regardless of whether it is the Mickey Mouse Cup, whether it's the Losers Cup, whatever cup you want to call it, we've beaten Man City to a trophy, and they take it seriously. They've won it 3 years on the trot, and so it's a trophy that they take seriously. It's not something they just say, oh, well, we don't care about it. Jose, again, looks at that trophy as being something that can transcend the season. Now, obviously, if it was played in February, it might have been a different account. If we'd have got it, won it, it might have pushed our season on. It might have the detrimental effect. If we lose it, the rest of our season could go pear-shaped. Either way, we have to win something, don't we?
Yeah.
I don't know anymore. Because Sam, I remember what we were saying earlier on about the whole any trophy in any position, it doesn't matter. But it's the Carabao Cup, and Yeah, I'll be very happy. Don't get me wrong. I'll be, like I said, I'll be running up and down my street if we win it. I'll be buzzing. I'll be great. I'll be happy. But
does it not give an added bonus that we beat City in the final?
Not if we don't get fourth.
No. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Bob, you're 100% right. For me, it's the Carabao Cup. It's cool. It's cool. Yeah, and again, you're right as well, Deji. We beat City in the league. But let's be really honest with ourselves. I don't think we should be striving for that. If I'm being honest, with the squad that we've got, we should be striving for a lot bigger and better. So if we kind of settle with that, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be happy about it. 100% we should be happy about it because we haven't won a trophy in 13 years. But we shouldn't be like, okay, we've won the Carabao now. That's it. Like, no.
No. I don't
think the foundations though, doesn't it?
That's exactly what you're saying, man. I'm not saying that this Carabao Cup is
flimsy foundation.
That's it. We're now world beaters. We can go on and win the Champions League the next season. I'm not saying that, but what I will say is it gives us the ability to be able to say we can win finals. We've gone past this semi-final, this Spursy thing. We get to finals, we can't win, we can't get over the line. 2008, the last time we won this particular cup. I think we need that. We need that mentality in the club. Surely.
Sorry, gentlemen, I can't do it.
I'm with you.
Oh, you two killed me.
Oh, here we go. I know this is going to be this case. Come on, then.
I'm going to put you on solo. In his face, he was like, I can't do it.
Deji, have your moment.
This is the McDonald's Cup. So what happens when you win this? You can take your little ticket, and when you buy your McChicken sandwich, you get another McChicken sandwich. There's no way that this is paying about to anybody. Yeah, that's what we do. That's what we're telling ourselves. We're trying to believe that, but we know that cup is utter rubbish. Look, the fact of the matter is,
I'm sweating here. I can't take this.
I'm not ready. We've already committed the biggest in trying to big up this trophy. That's the truth. Okay. The fact of the matter is, Poch had it right. I would rather be in the top 4, playing in the Champions League than this cup. And what we've done is we sold our souls to the devil, all because of a cup. And what we ended up with is that bloody Carabao McDonald's Cup. That ain't gonna.
How do you say that without laughing?
I don't know. I can't.
Let me tell you how bad that cup is. I follow all of those Spurs players on Instagram. All right? There won't be many pictures of them going online with that cup on their own.
Listen. Let me tell you something. When we won that Audi Cup, did you see how them players were celebrating? And that's what we got trolled for that. You know, we got trolled by people saying, "Oh, you won the Audi Cup. You lot are celebrating like you won the Champions League." I'm still of the mentality that it's not so much about the trophy being so prestigious. It's about the mentality that the players will get, or hopefully get, from winning. And it goes throughout the club. We can't say that we're winners. We can't say, and the fact that we're playing Manchester City in the final, a team that is blowing everybody away currently, it's a statement of how we can go forward. Yeah, it might not be the most prestigious cup in the world, but it's silverware. And I keep saying to you, these big managers like Jose, take it serious. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing,
The only reason I'm laughing, right, is because I'm thinking about it. Like, this Carabao Cup means more to other people than it does us. If we don't win it, if we win it, it will mean more to Mourinho because then at least he'll be able to say, I won a trophy with Spurs. And it will mean more to City not winning it because they won't win the quadruple. That's the meaning that the Carabao Cup has got now. It's not necessarily for us, I don't think. I think it's for other people. Like I said, we can stop City winning a quadruple and Mourinho can stop haters saying that he hasn't not won anything with Spurs. I understand that it does set some sort of precedent for the future going forward that you've won something. But I do get what Deji and what Poch is saying. At the end of the day, if somebody said to me, would you take 3 Carabaos and 3 8th place finishes as opposed to 3 consistent top 4 finishes, I probably would take the top 4 finishes. As much as I hate saying that, as much as that is contradictory and hypocritical, because I said earlier I would take any trophy, but for me, I'm looking back at it now.
What do we get for top 4?
Money to go and invest better players.
And we're not going to get money. I ain't seeing this money. John Levy doesn't get the money at the end of the season and say, you know what, Sam, Here you go. Have a check for 125 quid here. I don't want to check for no 125 quid. What I want to do is to be able to turn around and tell some of these people,
I won a Carabao.
Yay! I've won a trophy that I haven't won since 2008. I don't care. I am
the only thing winning the Carabao Cup's going to bring is a winning mentality, so-called winning mentality, and hopefully the confidence to push for the top four. If we don't get top four and we win the Carabao, that Carabao Cup will mean F all. It will mean absolutely nothing. It won't mean, and not only that, but it also, unfortunately, might paper over Jose's
I agree with
rubbish performance. We talk about players. We'll talk about. I know Premier Hotspur Simon's just saying. If I tell you, Lloris, Toby, Reguilon, Ndombele, Pierre, Sonny, and Kane, and who else? Probably more if you want. Celso. Well, there's 8 players who would get into, apart from Toby and Lloris, who will get into a top 4 squad. Any of those, Ndombele, Pierre, Sonny, Bale potentially, and Kane would get into any top 4 team. Standard. They would get into any top 4 team. So for I believe that we've just underperformed this season, and Jose's got away with so much purely and simply because the players haven't performed at all that. He's underachieved. The players have underachieved. It's a combined thing. Don't get me wrong. It's a combined thing.
I was just about to say, yeah.
But we should be up there. We should be up there.
You guys, this is what I want to ask you, and this is the question I would ask a lot of teams who aim for this top 4. We get into the top 4 this season. Great. Wow, whoopie-doo. We're in the Champions League. Are we going to win the Champions League next season?
Would you have said that in 2018? And I'm not trying to.
No. I'm just. Anybody can get to a final because it's been proven. But if you hand on heart, even if we were to get rid of a lot of players and get players in, are we likely to win the Champions League next season?
Maybe.
Well, if we're going by Jose's CV and everyone seems to be bigging him up the way they are, and he's done it with Porto, he's done it, then yeah, we should be allowed to think that if Jose gets the right players in,
yeah,
exactly. Why not?
That's the thing, though. He has to invest in defence.
Exactly.
But Carabao, this is the point I'm trying to make. A Carabao isn't going to be able to give you a budget. A Carabao Cup won't give you a budget to invest. That's the thing I'm trying to make. That's the point I'm trying to make. If you get top 4, you might be able to invest and pay 50 million for a player.
Thank you.
If you get top 6, you'll be able to.
You won't be able to.
Go on, Deji. Sorry.
But also, when you're in the Champions League, you can attract
top
quality players. Let's not forget that.
Facts.
And there was a pride. For the last 5 years, I walked out on the street with my chest pumped up. People said, "Oh, but what trophy have you won?" Doesn't matter. We're in the Champions League and we're doing bits. We win the Carabao Cup and we finish 8th. We're not. Who are we attracting? Nah. We can't even bloody get him Diddy like that. Do you know what I mean? And then what chest can I pump out? Carabao Cup. Anyone can win the Carabao Cup.
You know what?
Yeah, ambitious. Even as fans, when
you know what?
Tough,
I like this conversation.
And all I'm seeing in other chat rooms is that Spurs fans have lowered their standards. Let that be our next topic. But we've lowered our standards.
Now, let me tell you something. This thing about attracting players, blah, blah, blah. Players, don't get it wrong. Players do want to play at the highest level. But players these days appear to be playing for money. If you offer the players the right amount of money, as has been proven with the likes of Chelsea when they were outside the Champions League places, as has been proven with Manchester United when they've been outside the Champions League places, as has been proven with Arsenal when they're outside the Champions League places. If you pay a player a certain amount of cash, they will come to you on the premise that you might then get Champions League in a few seasons' time or and whatever it is. But ultimately, it's what you pay them. No, if you say to a player, "Yeah, I've got Champions League, but I'm paying you 70 grand a week." Hold on a minute. You playing Champions League and paying me 70 grand?
It also depends on who you're playing with as well. If you've got 100%. The Harry Kanes, the Sons, the Højbjergs,
I agree,
etc. You'll attract players because of who you're playing with. Not just obviously, not just money as well, but it does depend on who you're playing with. But for me, just break the duck. Break that duck in a trophy.
And we can all lift up our hands and just say, "Yay!" And we can get free McDonald's as well. That's the thing. We can get free McDonald's. See what I mean?
The thing is, we can still finish in the top 4. It's not mathematically impossible. We're only 3 points away. So why not go for the trophy and go for a top 4 finish? It's possible, and the squad's good enough.
Deji, your passion has been noted. I love Deji's passion from Yuri.
Don't say the name though.
Look, guys,
I know.
Me, it's coming, but
They're trying it.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's that time of the show where I got to drop a spanner.
The bomb's coming.
Knowledge bombing coming.
There's a bomb coming.
Deji bomb.
Because every time we've won a trophy, we've become non-existent, right? And I don't want it to be a case where we win this trophy, and for the next 8 years, we are just average. We might end up shooting ourselves in the foot by putting all of our eggs in this McDonald's cup. I would rather we earn the right to be with the big boys, and earning the right is finishing in the top 4. I would rather we do that, because that's how we get the momentum. We're playing well. We deserve to be there. The players feel that. Carabao Cup is not changing any player, any mood.
Deji
we
is
could
not
go
having
8 years, guys. We could go 8 years. We'll be going grey.
I am going grey. Look at this. What I'm saying. Listen, I've not won anything. And look how grey I've gone already.
I can't relate to that.
I cannot go this rest of this another season without winning.
This is the last 3 months. This is the last 3 months. This is.
Oh no, I'm not having this. I just want to be safe. No, we can't continue with not. Oh, we're in Champions League and then let's get second. We got second. Or nah.
Yeah, but this is a thing.
Isn't that why Jose's been brought in though? Isn't that why Jose's been brought in?
And this is why I'm giving him.
And think what you want about Jose. He'll have the pull as well. He's got that pull from European players. They want to come in and play for Jose. We might think whatever we want about Jose, but he has got that name. He has got that pull from European players. If we've got him in charge, we should be thinking 8 years down. We should be thinking about a decline after a win. Jose's remit was to take us into the Champions League. That's why I say if he's not taking us into the Champions League this season, especially with the inconsistencies of the teams above us, he's failed.
Bob Spur, you got it spot on. I honestly think that Daniel Levy has used Jose Mourinho's name to try and start building a squad, which he couldn't potentially maybe have used somebody else's name, i.e. an up-and-coming manager wouldn't have had that influence. Because I don't think Ruben Diaz would have been.
But that makes sense, though. That completely makes sense for him to do that, doesn't it?
But
my thing is for who he is and what he is, and the fact that you could build that platform to get the trophy that we are all craving for. Levy's craving for it himself. He's got this new stadium. He just wants a trophy.
But that's the thing. What then after that? If we win it, what then?
On the flip side of that will be down to Mourinho to then bring in those players that we need to for the next manager to come in and take us to the next, hopefully the next level. I mean, if Mourinho goes in the summer, you could say, I think that would then say, you could say goodbye to Son, you could say goodbye to Kane, Lloris would go, because they're not going to win a trophy under a new manager that's going to have to go for a rebuild. It'd be gone.
But then at least Jose wouldn't have signed the contract if he wasn't promised funds from ENIC. There's no way. He would have said, look, this is my CV, 26 trophies, and I've always managed to buy who I've wanted in. You promise me that, and I'll sign for you. Yeah, we might go for a season and a half of mediocre, but I will give you a trophy as long as you back me. Now, he could go to the end of the season and say, I know what we think about the Coca-Cola Cup, but he could go there to Daniel Levy and say, right, I've won you a cup, and I'll finish top 4. That's why I think it's so important. Back me, or I'm gone. You can pay off me my 30 million over 10 years, like I do with players. You pay my 30 million over 10 years, but I'm going. Because if you're not going to back me, then we're looking at the same again.
But surely a top 4 finish and a cup, that's a good season, isn't it?
Fantastic, and he deserves to stay.
That's more promising. 100%. That's more promising.
What if he comes 5th?
Nah. See, because the top 4 would allow him to reinvest. Yeah, 100%.
So if it's all about Champions League, I keep saying we can play Champions League every single year. At this moment in time, even now, even if we were to get in certain players for next season, I don't believe we're favourites for the Champions League. Not to say we can't get to the final again.
We'll never be favourites, though.
No, but what I'm saying is, if you look at the teams that are currently progressing, the likes of City, Liverpool are going to come back. Manchester United are going to progress. Chelsea are going to progress. Then we go into Europe. We've got the likes of Bayern Munich. We've got the likes of AC Milan. We've got the likes of PSG. There's so many teams that I would say, even now, they're ahead of us. We got to go through all of that to win the Champions League. Now, just being in it, I don't want to just be in a competition just to be in it. Well, do you know what I'm saying?
Just being in it brings you money. Just brings you mega money.
Like I said, Daniel Levy ain't giving me none of that money. He ain't giving me a check.
I could see that, and this is the only last point I want to make on this it's going quite far back about how the whole Tottenham players don't really necessarily care about who they play for as long as they're getting paid. I don't think that applies for Spurs, and I think that you use the teams that you use, for example, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, all have an incredible history that they can say, you know what, we can get to that level, or, you know, you're playing for a big club like that. We don't really have that. Plus, we don't even pay the money. So it's not even like we pay wages anyway.
So therefore, the silverware is part of that equation.
But the Carabao Cup isn't going to attract players like Ndombele. That's the point I'm trying to make. Ndombele joined because we got into the Champions League final the season before. He joined because we got into the Champions. If we win the Carabao Cup, I guarantee you Marcel Sabitzer would be like, I joined Tottenham because we got into the Carabao Cup. But if we get top 4 and sign somebody like Marcel Sabitzer, he'll be like, we're in the Champions League now. We could potentially do something, or I'm playing in the Champions League. It is more important than you think in terms of building a squad and this is what we need to do. We're in the phase or in the potential coming of a rebuild. We need to develop and buy players who are good enough. That's what I mean. And we're not going to be able to if we're not in a good enough competition. If we're finishing 8th, 7th, like we probably will, and let's say we do win the Carabao Cup, I don't think anybody who's not English is going to think, yeah, they won a Carabao Cup, that's a good team. As opposed to if, I don't know, Chelsea.
But overseas, players from overseas aren't going to understand the differences in the cups as such, are they? I mean, they're just going to say, they won a trophy. Well, that's good. They must be half decent.
No, because then they'll see Arsenal. They'll see Arsenal, Man United, and think, oh my gosh, remember that Arsenal team or remember that Man United team? I'd rather go and play for them. Tottenham haven't got that allure. Tottenham don't have that allure, and that's the only thing.
Where we don't have that allure. We need to get that allure by doing the mentality.
Carabao Cup's not going to give us that allure. That's the point I'm trying to make.
What I'm trying to say is I don't, and I agree with all of you about the Carabao Cup. It is not the most prestigious cup in the world. I agree with that 100%. It's not going to be a game changer in terms of finances. It's not going to be a game changer in that sense. But what it does allow us to do, it allows us to build. As Mike said earlier, it's the foundations. You can't build nothing unless you have foundation. This is what I'm saying. The foundation
with players from Newcastle.
He's trying to murder us.
He's
trying to murder us today.
Finishing 4th is a bigger trophy now than the Carabao Cup.
Well, that's what's happened. That's what the game's gone to now. Gentlemen, listen, I'm going to have to stop us there. We've gone into like nearly an hour in this, and I really didn't think we would. But we have. So, again, we could probably go on and on for this because it's a really good subject. But we've all got opinions, and that's really good. So, again, please like, subscribe, share, comment. This is Paxton Road TV, brand new channel. All
that name
Tottenham.
Sounds nice.
No.
Sounds nice.
It sounds nice, doesn't it? It does sound nice. We'll have lots more stuff to come. Obviously, all the Premier League previews, the reactions. We'll have some other shows coming up. We're in discussions about what we're going to bring, but we are going to bring a lot of hopefully good content towards you guys. And as I said, we're all Spurs geared up here. As you can see, very passionate fans, always got opinions. And doesn't matter if we agree all the time. We don't have to, but we've all got passion. And this is what we want to see. We want our team to progress. We want our team to do better. So, gentlemen, it has been emotional. It's been emotional.
And we're not even playing.
It's been emotional. And we're not even got to the weekend yet. I just hope we beat Newcastle, royally spank Newcastle.
God, if we don't, then.
But that's we've got to get through this England qualifier first before we get to that. But gentlemen, thank you very much for your comments. Very, very good show tonight. And we'll be doing it again next week. So watch out, 8 o'clock every week, Talking Points on Paxton Road TV. I like saying that name, you know. I do like saying it.
Rolls off the tongue.
It's been emotional. Gentlemen, no music to go out to, so it's just going to be see you guys later.